Mehragan, the Persian festival of autumn, origins, customs, cultural impact, and legacy. Abstract. Mehragaan, Jashn-e Mehr, is an ancient Iranian festival honoring Mehr-Mithra, a divinity of light, covenants, friendship, and the harvest. Celebrated in autumn, Mehragan has been observed since pre-Islamic times, risen to great courtly prominence under Achaemenid and Sasanian rule, survived local and Zoroastrian practice through centuries, and in recent years seen a visible cultural revival, including inscription on UNESCO's representative list. This video traces Mehragan's origins and mythic associations, describes its historical and contemporary customs, assesses its influences on Persian culture, and reflects on its living legacy. Origins and mythic meaning. Mehragan takes its name from Mehr, Middle Persian Mir, Old Persian Mithra, an ancient Indo-Iranian deity associated with light, truth, contractual bonds, friendship, and goodwill. In the Zoroastrian and pre-Zoroastrian religious framework, Mehra is a yazada, a being worthy of worship, whose ethical role centers on the protection of oaths and social harmony. The festival is therefore both a religious observance to honor that divinity and a seasonal, agricultural celebration of autumnal abundance. Mehragan is also a name-day festival. In the older Iranian calendrical system, each day and month had names, and the day on which the day name and month name matched, Mehr Day of Mehr month, was celebrated as Mehragan. This calendrical origin explains why Mehragan's precise modern date may vary depending on calendar reform and local practice. Historical development and courtly prominence. Archaeological and textual evidence show that Mehragan was an established celebration in ancient Persia. Under the Achaemenid and later Sasanian empires, it acquired formal courtly significance. Kings received gifts during Mehragan, public pageantry was common, taxes and tributes were often presented during the feast, and royal audiences were associated with the day, so important that coronations and royal receptions sometimes took place at Mehragan as well as at Nowruz. In short, Mehragan was one of the major annual markers of the political religious year in pre-Islamic Iran. Following the Arab conquest and subsequent centuries of political and religious change, the festival's prominence declined in many regions. Nonetheless, Zoroastrian communities in Yazd, Kerman, and in the broader Persianate world preserved elements of its observance. In the modern era, there has been a renewed cultural interest in Mehragan both inside Iran and among the Iranian diaspora. UNESCO's 2024 inscription of the ceremony of Mehragan on the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity is a recent institutional recognition of its continuing cultural significance. Rituals and customary practices. Although local variants exist, the most commonly described Mehragan customs include sofra, table or spread. Families set a ceremonial clothed table, a sofra, often decorated with symbolic foods and objects, pomegranates and grapes, harvest abundance, pastries and sweets, a mirror, reflection truth, and sometimes a copy of a sacred text or poetry. Like the Nowruz Hafsin, the Mehragan sofra assembles items that signal prosperity, health, and gratitude. Wearing special clothing. Historically, purple or warm garments were associated with Mehragan. Garments and robes were changed as part of the seasonal rite. In courtly ceremonies, kings and nobles might don special robes. Feasting and gift-giving. Mehragan was traditionally a time to exchange gifts, redistribute wealth with the poor, and celebrate communal harvest success. In the imperial era, tributary gifts to the court were recorded. Among ordinary people, gifts and sweet foods circulate as tokens of affection. Prayers, hymns, and recitations. Zoroastrian priests, magi modes, and lay participants recite prayers and hymns honoring Mehr and give thanks for the harvest and social bonds. Rural celebrations often include music, dance, and agricultural exhibitions. Regional and diasporic communities add contemporary elements, greeting cards, community meals, cultural programs, and public exhibitions of handicrafts and produce. Zoroastrian community organizations and cultural centers around the world hold Mehragan events to teach younger generations and re-establish traditional practices. Impact on Persian culture, social, literary, and artistic traces. Mehragan's influence on Persian cultural life is multiple. Social cohesion and reciprocity. By centering on friendship, contracts, and mutual obligations, themes closely linked to the figure of Mehr, the festival reinforced social networks, communal responsibility, and seasonal reciprocity between patrons and dependents, or between rulers and subjects. Its gift-giving and charitable customs promoted social solidarity after the harvest. Literary and symbolic presence. Mehr-Mithra appears throughout Persian poetry and courtly literature as a symbol of love, faithfulness, and cosmic order. The seasonal imagery of autumnal light, pomegranates, ripe fruit, and gatherings recurs in classical and folk verse, often with Mehragan's motifs as implicit reference. Ritual aesthetics and material culture. The ceremonial sofra, ritual foods, and festival garments have informed Persian visual and decorative arts. Textiles, miniature painting, and later ceremonial practices all draw on the festival's color palette, objects, and iconography. State and political ritual. In the pre-Islamic statecraft of the Achaemenids and Sasanians, Mehragan formed one of the seasonal anchors for royal legitimacy and the public display of sovereignty. That linkage shaped how authority was ritually presented in Iranian political culture for centuries. Modern revival, transnational recognition, and living legacy. Beginning in the 20th century and accelerating with the rise of cultural revival movements and the global Iranian diaspora, Mehragan has reappeared as a site of cultural memory and identity. Local festivals, academic interest, museum exhibitions, and diaspora community gatherings have promoted public awareness. The UNESCO inscription, 2024, of the Ceremony of Mehragan, a joint nomination by Iran and Tajikistan, both recognizes its transnational Persianate footprint and creates institutional support for safeguarding and transmitting associated practices. This recognition encourages documentation, teaching programs, and community initiatives intended to keep the festival alive in both rural and urban settings. Contemporary Mehragan celebrations thus function on several levels: as a religious observance for Zoroastrians, as a cultural and seasonal celebration for secular Iranians, and as a transnational marker of Persianate identity in Central Asia and the diaspora. The festival's adaptability, its ability to incorporate modern public programming, media, and educational outreach, helps explain its renewed visibility. Mehragan is a richly layered festival, at once religious, honoring the Jashn-e Mehr, seasonal, a harvest and autumn festival, social, a time of gift-giving and reciprocity, and political, historically integrated into royal ritual. Its deep roots in the Iranian calendrical and cultic universe, its persistence in local Zoroastrian practice, and its recent reassertion as shared intangible heritage demonstrate that Mehragan remains a living and adaptable component of Persian cultural memory. The 2024 UNESCO inscription marks a new chapter in its modern story, one that aims to preserve the festival's practices while allowing them to be meaningfully enacted by present and future generations. We hope you have enjoyed watching the video. Thank you.